All right, Jason. So, as I said, my story is not no one dies, which is always a good day on this show. I like telling these stories that aren't quite as serious, but this one is interesting and has some unique little twists. It's about a woman who was found shackled to a tree in the jungle outside of a small village in India. See, I told you it was lighthearted. Emaciated and dehydrated, she told authorities that her husband had chained her to the tree and left her for dead. But authorities would learn there was a little more to that story. On July 27th of this year, a shepherd walking through the forest near the village in Sunurli, some 280 miles from Mumbai, India, heard a woman pleading for help. As he investigated further, he saw the emaciated woman chained to a tree at her legs. She couldn't speak clearly, so he had no way of knowing who she was or how she got there, so he went for help. Authorities then arrived and sawed through the chains to free the woman, carted her out on a stretcher, and transported her to a local hospital. Police recovered a photocopy of a U.S. passport at the scene, identifying the woman as 50-year-old Lalita Kumar of Massachusetts. That's interesting, right?
Yeah.
She's in the middle of the jungle in India.
With a passport.
With a U.S. passport, with a photocopy of a U.S. passport with her. She also had a national ID showing a home address in Tamil Nadu, India. I think that's right. They also found in her possession a cell phone, tablet, and 31,000 rupees, or about $370 in U.S. currency. Miraculously, the woman was then able to scrawl on a piece of paper at the hospital some of the details of her ordeal. She stated that her husband had chained her to the tree after a domestic dispute and left her for dead. She said it had been 40 days, and since she had eaten, and it had been numerous days since she'd had water due to a severe case of lockjaw. Authorities, as you and I probably are right now, questioned that story, as no one could likely survive without food for 40 days.
Right.
I will say this. As I read, I think given the situation, clearly that's something's odd there, but this is India, the land of yoga and of fasting and of, religious fasting and all these kind, and if you go read stories there, whether true or not, you can believe what you want, but there are stories of people in India fasting for exceptionally long periods of time, eating nothing. Or was it the Dalai Lama that ate one bean a day? Was that the Dalai Lama? Someone in India.
I don't know. Was it maybe Gandhi?
Gandhi. Maybe it was Gandhi. I don't know, but ate like one bean a day. So
wow.
You have this culture that could be, 40 days. And she was emaciated. We'll see pictures of her, but she is skin and bones at this point. But even they were like, this doesn't sound right. As soon as she was well enough, she was admitted to a psychiatric facility where she was assessed and cared for. As her health improved over the next few days, Kumar admitted that it was not her husband who had chained her to the tree, because she wasn't even married. She had chained herself to the tree. You see that one coming?
No. No.
Can you imagine the scene right at this point in the story, though? You find this woman who is literally, she's like a skeleton wrapped in skin almost. Can't speak, and she gets to the hospital, and as soon as she's able to kind of like be coherent enough, she scribbles, and we've got some images of that, but she scribbles down on this notepad this sort of story saying, I haven't eaten for 40 days. My husband did this. And then a couple days later, she's kind of doing a little better. And then she admits that she isn't even married. It wasn't her husband. She's not married. And then says, I chained myself to the tree in the middle of the jungle. How bizarre.
Yeah, and wouldn't the first question be,
why?
Where's your what's your
Right.
husband's name?
Yeah.
Where is he?
Yeah.
I mean, like, how hard is that to crack?
Yeah. Especially after saying that it was after a domestic dispute,
Right.
Authorities and doctors learned that Kumar had purchased the shackles and chained herself to the tree after becoming distressed when her visa expired and she began to run out of money. As for her story, authorities don't believe that Kumar was trying to pull a fast one on anyone, rather that she was likely suffering from hallucinations when she gave her initial written statement to police. Because I think as she was sort of, she was so malnourished and dehydrated, and as she sort of, they were getting IVs hooked up to her, getting her some food, water, things like that, she started to be a little more coherent. She came clean with the story, and I don't think it was like, oh no, I'm busted. I think she probably had. I think that's probably right. She was hallucinating and just whatever.
Yeah,
don't.
Yeah, there's got to be a better way. Walking into the jungle.
Well,
and,
yeah, and so I'm actually. Yeah, and I'm actually going to talk about that. Doctors said her condition is improving. She's eating and exercising, and has spoken to her family on the phone in the U.S. So that's good. It's always nice to hear something kind of work out well. It sounds like she had a little bit of whether it was a psychotic break or just stress. And I was going to say, to the point that you just kind of made, stress can really make you do crazy things. It can change your entire way of thinking, or your concentration, your focus, your desire to do anything. I mean, everyone has been stressed at times in their life, and sometimes it's a little bit of stress and it just kind of bugs you, and maybe your neck gets tight, but sometimes it's a lot of stress and it can really impact you, how you live your life. But to make you walk out into a jungle, I mean, this is India, right? In the jungle, there's wild animals. There's, I mean, like real, there's poisonous snakes, there's cobras, there's any number of ways she could have been killed. So in a lot of respects, she's lucky, right?
Yeah, and it also brings up another. We frequently criticize or make commentary about how let's just say how stupid people are. Hey, didn't you know you were going to leave the pool of blood behind, or the murder weapon, or the list of poisons? But like, if you have that psychotic break or that big stressful moment, maybe all that stuff just goes out the door and you don't think about any of it, and you have to pick up the pieces later if you're lucky. But like, maybe in this case, I don't know what she was doing, but it's just like, the whole point is you're not thinking things through, you're not thinking things clearly at all. It's actually the opposite, and that's why we, I think, look back at some of these these murder cases of like, how could you be so stupid? Well, yeah, they could still be stupid, but if you're in this emotional state, you will do things that you wouldn't do on any normal day, right?
Right. And I mean, it's kind of like, the only thing I could compare it to would be like getting in a fight. If you get punched or you're in a fight, Jason, I'll explain to you what it feels like to be in a fight later, because I don't think you've ever been in one. If I had to guess,
look at this face.
But when people say I saw red, that's a real thing. And for those people who haven't ever been like, punched in the face or gotten in a fight or something like that, or been so angry, that's a real thing. And your focus becomes you become laser focused on one thing or one thought. And that's the only way I could compare something like this, even though it's entirely different circumstances, but just the stress of like, all of a sudden you get a thought in your head and you're not thinking about all these other things. I don't know. The hallucinations and this story about my husband and you're not even married. It's just, it's wacky in a way. But again, if you're under an immense stress and pressure.
Well, so you're kind of hinting at the fact by the way you said it that you actually have been in a fight before and that you've seen red.
Oh man, I've been, when I was a kid. I don't think I've been in. I haven't been in a fight since I was like a fist fight since I was an adult. But I mean, as a kid, yeah, growing up or high school or whatever.
Yeah.
Listen, man. Fights are different today than they were when you and I were growing up. I wouldn't want to get in a fist fight today. It's just a different mentality. When we were growing up, I mean, that was kind of you get in a fight, you knock the crap out of each other for a little bit, and then you're done. There's a winner, and you shake hands, or your buddies the next week at school. It's probably so much that way anymore.
Yeah. Or you're just fighting with your buddies, and then you're just like, you're a jerk, and then you walk away, and your friends, hanging out 10 minutes later. Now it's a lot more dangerous, I think.
Yeah. The mentality of things has changed, and everybody's watched like UFC, and you just see. I always think that too. So off topic of the story, but I mean, when people today, not just kids, but especially kids because they're more impressionable. Watching like UFC and these professional athletes beat the shit out of each other and do these things like just pounding on someone's head repeatedly. Like if you're in ninth grade and you get in a fight, don't do that stuff.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like that's what I would think being in school today or whatever. Maybe just getting in any fight would be like, because people have seen so much of that stuff and think, oh, that's fighting now. Whereas it wasn't when I was younger.
With real blood. No, it's more than just a black eye and a shiner, right? Like it's
right,
a lot of other, it's the technique. It's all those things.
Yeah. But anyway, so that's the lady tied to a tree. And like I said, luckily it sounds like things are getting better for her and getting well, or going well, which I always like to see. So, hit the subscribe button and like us. Hit us on social media at How It All Went South, YouTube at How It All Went South. Jason, you got anything for him?
No, I got nothing. Keep listening. We got lots and lots of really great stories and content to come. Endless waterfalls of things that we can't decide what goes first, next, or last. I promise it's good, and stay tuned.
We'll see you guys soon.